What's up, everybody? This is Fatima back to give you some keys today, some messages of clarity and wisdom, especially during this Libra moon as we head to the full moon in Libra. I hope y'all have had a healthy experience with Mercury retrograde. We're coming out of the retrograde. We are in the post-shadow phase until about the 21st. And then you're free of Mercury's wrath. She likes to play. This season, Mercury was a he. And happy birthday to all of the Aries out there. Hats off to you. I would salute, but we don't do that where I come from. Inside, we don't do that on indoors. But salute to you. All right. So, remember who you are, okay? And don't forget, especially when you get around groups of people, okay? And you start to feel the energy and you get a little bit overwhelmed. Especially if you're a water sign, you could take on energies of others and unknowingly, and then your body could react to it based on your level of healing or understanding, understanding, or overstanding. And that will cause an effect that will make you project things that you may not want to project, especially when you're around people that you care about, that you love, and you're not aware of your level of healing. Things such as false projections can happen, and I call them false projections because of the simple fact that you can unintentionally project evil eye energies onto people that are closest to you, and you will cause them to suffer, and especially if they're an innocent person in a situation. So it is best to be aware of self, because when you're not aware of self, you can unintentionally hurt the wrong person, and then that causes karma for you. You don't want to have to deal with that, you know, because if you're sending out heavy energies to people and you're not listening to the message of Aries, where you're not looking at self and examining self first, the habit of repetition will be to constantly blame others and play victim, especially if you are around people that are narcissistic in their own tendencies and they're not aware of self, or they are aware and they just don't care. If you're around people that are takers, it could be a little bit of a challenge to clear your energy, and Aries likes challenges, so Aries be here for it. Aries is the planet that is neighbors with Scorpio in Mars, and we are still in the Mars in the sign of home, Cancer, which is telling you to take a deep dive and a deep look within, okay? Which was the purpose of my message before this video. Just the way to come out is to go within. Always remember that. If you ever feel like you don't know what to do, don't do anything. Just be still. Maintain your peace. It is important now that as you travel, if you're traveling north in your node, okay, that you maintain peace and serenity at all times, and that you take the path of least resistance. You don't have to choose the hard way, the long route. But if you put yourself on that route, you have to travel it until your pathway is clear to make another move, okay? So we're going to talk about Libra, but the topic in this video is a soul tie, which is very close to a twin flame dynamic. But when you're talking about soul ties and you're talking about twin flames, I'm going to tell you what the textbook definition is, okay? And then I'm going to give you the wisdom's perspective, all right? So soul ties are deep, often overwhelming connections that are formed through physical, emotion, or spiritual intimacy with another person. Intimate doesn't always have to mean sexual. Intimate can mean something that the definition of intimacy is when you share private details about yourself. You know, you pillow talk with people, someone that you call a best friend, somebody you tell all your business to. That is someone who has intimate information, knowledge on you, right? So as you develop your gift of discernment, you become more wise in learning how to disclose yourself and how to become better as it pertains to a relationship with yourself and others. So Libra teaches us about all the ships, all of the relationships, partnerships, the public, with friends, with family members. It's the house of marriage. It is the house of contracts. Okay, so soul ties, I've covered enough of the twin flames. But soul ties, when you're talking about soul ties, these connections, they can be positive or negative. Now, you can have a soul tie if someone is divinely chosen to be your divinely guided partner or your twin flame. That's still someone you share the same soul with. However, if you have gone through a powerful transformation and you have elevated, soul ties can become negative if you have cut the silver cord to yourself and someone else energetically, because it has to start within the mind, right? It has to, the seed of the idea has to be planted first, and you follow through on the idea based on how it makes you feel, if it makes you feel secure or not. And then you get into a partnership or relationship after you have used the element of mind, air, or emotion, water, which is connected to your crown and your heart. Now, if those two are blocked, then you're looking at the Pisces energy and you're dealing with hidden enemies, okay? Libra will show you the open enemies after you have gone through the lessons of the karmic contract, all right? So now, the connection can be positive and fostering growth, well-being, or negative, leading to unhealthy dependencies or codependencies. So now, when you're talking about the soul ties, okay, naturistically, energetically, the connection is formed through a shared experience. So you could be, you could have met someone that you were unaware was in a codependent situation. Someone, because we're talking about soul ties now, we're separating from the divinely guided partner or the twin flame. We're looking at the reason we're healing in the first place is because of it's part of your soul's contract. And what is in that contract are certain people, places, and things that you will encounter along your journey, and it will cause you to level up, stand still, or cause you to have to repeat cycles until you get a higher perspective, which is an understanding of the mistakes you've made. Now, if you don't learn the mistakes, you continue to attract the same spirit, different body, because you have a type. But when you heal, you shed old layers of skin, of spirit, of mind, of self. You become a master of mind, body, spirit, emotions, and you start to look at people for who they are. They are no longer aligned with who you are, who you resonate with. The more you become true, the more they look like old forms of you, because you attracted them in the first place when you were operating out of one of the 7 deadly sins. Okay, 7 deadly sins being pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. Sloth meaning like being sneaky, lazy at the same, and mostly lazy. But lazy people are sneaky too. So those are the kinds of spirits, when we're talking about the spirit of greed, okay, money. People get in codependent situations because they are lacking in some area of their life, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You get in a situation where you think someone completes you. And so if God was first in the relationship, then you would not have felt incomplete because you came as one. But your part of your soul's journey is that you are in two. And so most people are looking for their other half of self when the other half is in the mirror, but the hype and the money attached to the idea of soulmates, the one, and all of that stuff comes attached to the 7 deadly sins. Somebody may be insecure because they don't like themselves. They get with somebody because somebody can pay for them to like themselves more, okay? Somebody's looking for a come up, greed. Somebody's greedy, or somebody is with somebody because they don't like who they are, and they settle. That's a form that's tied to gluttony, that's tied to fear. These are low vibrational energies that will cause you to get in contracts. And then that vibration, taking it to science now, that vibration is an energy that is used and co-created with another person. And even though children are blessings, they come as karmic lessons if you are not with the person you're supposed to be with, and if you were operating out of a low vibration. If you got in a rebound relationship because you didn't heal from the previous relationship, then you attracted a like-minded soul mate to go into partnership with, where you agreed on a soul level to learn these lessons because you're continuing to repeat them. So now when we talk about the soul tie, oftentimes if you were mentally codependent on somebody because your mind needs a handler or something like that, you depended on this person for answers all the time. You lack clarity within. You lack truth. You lack understanding. You lack wisdom. And you're a grown person, but you continue to make the same mistakes. You fail to look at self. You attract someone that is just like that shadow aspect of you that needs to heal. And a lot of times, the woman or the man energy is flipped. So the masculine is like a bitter feminine. The feminine is like an overbearing masculine aggressive energy. And so you have karmic baby mothers, baby fathers, people that are bitter friends, passive aggressive relationships. The intensity of the relationships were a facade because you were in need of love, of spiritual growth. You needed something to believe in. You needed something to do. You needed something to make you feel better. So oftentimes people get in situationships because they need a band-aid of some sort, okay? And then you're sitting in that element of air because you feel stuck, okay? Or if you took an action, and Libra also deals with man's law, spiritual law, okay? If you took an action in the physical and you're dealing with man's karmic law, you have to see your way out of those situations by facing your fear, by looking at the moon, looking at self, because all roads lead back to self, okay? Even if people may attack you, falsely accuse you, try to assassinate your character, because Aries is all about the character. And so a lot of people may be going through character assassinations, and those energies are being projected, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And so what people may have been experiencing during the retrograde was a lot of psychological attacks, because you could be still mentally attached to karmic contracts of the past, whereas you may be healing, but the person you got into a soul tie with, that you left behind, that you cut the cord from, is still dealing with the remnants of what they did to you, because it starts in the conscious. And the battle is the conscious versus subconscious mind, the forward versus the back of the brain, right? The mental and the spirit. The third eye will be blocked because The crown chakra is in reverse, inverted, and it's not in connection with the heart. It's in connection with the root. So deep down, people are still holding grudges from their own choices and their own false ideas. The lack of trust in what your intuition is trying to tell you will cause you to freeze yourself. Okay. So excuse me, my nose runs when I channel things. So okay. So like the purpose of a soul tie is to show you who you are not by treating you like someone you're not, right? And it's a hard lesson because some people have a hard time of letting go, and they resort to all types of measures in order to keep a person stuck and from moving forward. People lack attention to details, and some people don't want to wake up. Okay, some people are meant to not awaken consciously in this lifetime. Okay, there are also karmics who are envious of those that cannot get over their past. Okay, and then you move on to a rebound, and the rebound, you with someone, you realize that person can't get over their past, and so then that rebound becomes jealous of the person that has elevated or healed, and then what happens is they're projecting negative energies, and that karmic is trying to become like the person that the rebounder was left behind, or that the one that left behind the person that grew, or what have you. However the dynamic twists and turns, and then people will lack clarity of self, and then they will try to mimic or become like the energy that someone cannot get over. They will begin to try to copy and become that person, which is where you have the lust and the jealousy and the Jezebel and the Black Widow energy, where people are trying to be vindictive and manipulative. Libra deals with the following areas of the body. They're the kidneys, the ureter, the urinary bladder, the veins, the skin as the organ of touch, okay, pancreas, insulin, the glucosin, okay, so this is like the opposite of the Aries. So what you do to the outside, through your skin, will affect the mind, and then the body, which is Virgo energy, right before the 6th house, because in order to have 6 and 1, that's 7, right? So Aries is the 1st house, Virgo is the 6th house. So when you put that two together, you get 7. So you have to have balance, mind and body, okay? In order to move forward, you have to master the self, the head down to the feet. Now the feet brings you to the pineal gland with Pisces, okay? When we look at the moon, we need to feel secure. So before you step forward, you have to feel secure in self, in decision. It has to feel right in spirit. It has to feel right as a whole, okay? Many people are not consciously aware of what contracts they're getting into. And so they're not aware of astrologically where the planets were aligned when they were born, when they got into situations, and they didn't take heed to certain warning signs because of the program, and what you're not supposed to know about yourself. People fell for that idea, and they got with like-minded people that resonated with their energetic level at the time, right? And so what happens is people continue to grow. The energy has to continue to move, because energy cannot be created, and it cannot be killed. It has to be transferred, which is Libra energy. That's karmic law. There has to be a cause and an effect. Okay, so oftentimes people get in these karmic relationships because they're off on binging. They're in a whole phase. They're in whatever phase that makes them feel better. The phase that Capricorn allows them to think is a permanent fix to temporary situations or temporary fixes to permanent situations. Okay, you have to flip the energy accordingly because it depends on your own toxic traits, recognizing the self. And if you're not constantly learning self and taking accountability for the actions, what will happen is as you try to move forward, the energy will still follow you because it's in your mind, like Freddy Krueger. It's all about fear, okay? It's about facing your fear and not being afraid of the terror that flies by night or by day, right? 10,000 may fall at your side, right? But it shall not come nigh thee. So, which brings me to the moon talk. The moon speaking about Libra, okay? So, a win-win outcome is in the forecast for you. So, this is the Libra reading / reading about relationships, partnerships. You have to do the healing work, and retrogrades bring us back to the past. And Virgo stores information. Gemini communicates it. Pisces uses the gift of discernment to figure out what is going on. Sagittarius gives us a higher perspective. Those are the mutable signs that will be affected every time it's a retrograde in some way, shape, form, or fashion because they deal with the communication, the action, the movement, the ability to be still and take action when necessary or not, because Aries is the impulsive one. So Aries is the leader, right? In order to lead, you have to go through different trials, tribulations, and obstacles and challenges in order to master self. This is why the Aries energy is known as the boss, because they have gone through these different steps of elevation in different phases of their life. So they naturally have the old soul. And it's kind of very close to like a Virgo, because Virgos are hermits and Virgos are very wise beyond their years. However, everyone doesn't represent their house well. And that's where you get the karmic contracts. And then everybody thinks that every zodiac sign is just alike, when there's a list of character traits for each zodiac sign. But what happens is, when some people are operating out of their shadow aspect, they're not operating out of the true character. They're operating out of their South Node character, okay? Because the world is a stage, and your perception from the Sagittarius's higher perspective gives you clarity on your reality, okay? So, a twin flame can be divinely guided, but a soul tie can be toxic because of the inability to be secure. Okay, so if you are naturally a jealous person and you're not aware, the moon can make you feel like you're in denial. Nah, I ain't no jealous person, this and that. But you have to really look at yourself and just understand your character, that you could be a possessive person. You can be a bit codependent based on the lessons you were taught from the mother or father. Some people clung to their mother or father. Some mothers did not spare the rod and they spoiled the child. So these all go back to biblical rules and the infrastructure, and it all deals with what occurred in the home first, and what information was stored in the spiritual body before the physical body manifested. And so your karmic contract is you can break a soul tie, but you have to be strong mentally, because the mind remembers, for every traumatic experience, the mind remembers, I think, like 7 years of it. So it takes a little bit of a while. Some people are on their self-healing journey and others are not. And this is what you have to accept. That's a harsh truth, that some people can't go with you to the next level. But people are so afraid of death, not realizing that it's a transformation of energy. You go from one thing to the next. You become something else. If your old character wasn't working for you, you have to become a different character by being true to your true character, okay? and understanding how your character works is where you become strong mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. You have to do the research. You have to do the work. You cannot copy a spirit. You cannot swap someone else's energy in a permanent sense, because the Most High, Father God, is the Alpha and Omega. He created and gave you a contract that you agreed to come here in this life to fulfill your destiny. And so trying to renege and swap out when you come here in the physical, you can't renege with God. That's a hard lesson. You know what I'm saying? So, and then soul ties, they often come out as a relationship that when you physically move on, you still have to continue to break up with a person, place, or thing in the mind, because you were attached to that person, place, or thing based on your beliefs, based on your fears. Didn't mean you had to have any or not, but everybody has a fear. Whether you like something or not, it either is or it isn't. Scorpio teaches us what's black and what's white. Either you feel one way or you don't. Either a person is a friend or they're a foe. They can't be both, right? So Pisces shows us to look at both emotions, good and bad. Constantly weigh the differences in what you were shown, what you know, what you don't know. You gotta go to spiritual court, right? You gotta take it there and really be honest, because the Most High is always watching. So you can't lie to self. The energy doesn't lie. People lie, right? But the energy does not. And when you are aware and you get to know yourself, you can become aware of the past, the present, and you can have a perception of where you want your future to go, right? Nobody has the ultimate answers. You can project and assume, but you have to be aware that the Most High has a bigger plan. Okay, so these are like the messages are mixed all in. But you have to know that when you don't face the direction of growth, you cannot grow. So if you came from a situation where you felt low vibrational, there was no change, you lacked, the retrogrades, they bring you back. Like, remember me, right? You have to go over things, and Virgo teaches you to analyze it, but not to the point where you're scaring yourself and sabotaging yourself. But it is a process of healing, okay? Right now, we're still in a very sensitive time because a lot of planets are in Pisces, and this is a very important time for people to become more spiritual and for them to believe in the Most High and have a belief that the Most High is moving as He said He would, okay? But if He's omnipresent, then that means He resides within, right? And so your state of consciousness has to become aware. But it can be very scary when you're going through the death of the ego, because the death of the ego can feel like a real death. So they're like near-death experiences. But when you look at the aspect of a scorpion, they die many times and become different forms. Butterflies, they're constantly evolving. You go through phases. But ultimately, it's based on your beliefs. And now we are in different times, trying times, but you have to constantly see your way out, and you have to constantly work on your spiritual strength, because we are dealing with energies that are not of our highest good all the time. And when Spirit shows you these people and they expose themselves, or these places, or these things, you have to go deeper, and you cannot be afraid to go deeper, because it's like a virtual reality first, and then it becomes what you're projecting based on your ability to accept truth and fact. Some people have a hard time accepting that something is over with, and they don't want that person to be able to move on. That's why soul ties can become heavy. So the best thing to do is continue to love yourself. And as you love yourself, you find the way. You find the truth, and you begin your real life. 333 on the clock. Everything on my channel is a sign. Everything in my videos are signs. And if you come across this video, I hope you continue to heal. You deserve it. I hope you continue to grow. You deserve it. Continue to ask the Most High for forgiveness. Forgive yourself and forgive others. But you definitely have to forgive yourself, because had you not made the decision to move forward, they would still be doing whatever it is that they do, and so would you. 3113 on the clock. And had you not made the choice to choose yourself in a situation, the person you were in a karmic situation would not have done what they did. So accept them as a teacher at a certain level of wherever you were at. That's how you can find the closure. That's how you can face that ego part of your mind that tells you that you can't move forward, that you can't breathe without a person, you can't live without a person. Well, you was doing that before you met them, right? So now you have to look at your ability to move forward. Are you codependent? Why? That means you have an addictive personality, right? We all have an addiction to something, okay? What is your vice? What is your go-to thing that you do? And you have to be honest with self, because at the end of the day, you have to be your best friend. Doesn't matter what Pookie and Bone Fufu and Eduardo and Harry and all them other friends, it doesn't matter who they are. It matters that you know who you are, okay? And oftentimes, unhealed people will project their idea of who they think you are onto you. And if you're not aware of yourself, you can believe that. And that can be detrimental to your mind, your spirit, and your health. And if your health is affected and you're not able to listen to your body's not talking to you because you got too many attachments, you got too many spiritual bodies on you, then that means you have to do the healing work, because you're only going to attract, because you're a magnet now. It's just like a dust. You know how the air can accumulate dust? You have to constantly dust things off. Things don't stay clean forever. You will continue to magnetically attract karmic people. And if you into that deep dark shit, you're going to attract people that's just like that, and you're going to meet a bigger shadow, right? And then that's who you will be at war with, because that will be the idea, okay, key word, idea of who the devil is in your life. It is the reflection of your shadow. And so you have to heal that shadow by facing that fear of that devil within you. But so many people out here calling each other devils, you know, and judging one another from what they don't know. And so that's why the Most High tells us to forgive them, for they now know not what they do, right? If people knew themselves, and if they'd gone through the healing work, then they wouldn't treat people in such low manner. People can project a lot of negativity onto others just because they are unable to wrestle the temptations in their own mind. This world is very wicked, and we are in a spiritual war. And so I have healing energies to give, but my light is not always free. But I do like to help people. I am aware of a lot of different things, and sometimes it's best to not say too much, and sometimes it's best to say whatever it is that you feel like saying. So with that being said, a lot of times people get in situations where they rebound and they have failed to heal from where they previously came from. And so this message reminds you to be aware and really take the time to understand what you are letting into your temple. The body is your temple, your vessel. The temple being your mind, your physical body, because everybody ain't clean, okay? There are people that intentionally know they're not clean, and they intentionally are going around with vengeance in their heart and spirit. And so you have to trust the energies that you are feeling and being shown, okay? There's a lot of energies that people pick up on. And if you lack focus, if you lack clarity, if you're feeling lazy, if you're feeling down, you have to pray over yourself. You have to understand what is happening. You have to research, because there's no reason that your body or your spirit should be at an uneasy point and you're not balanced. Libra has to have balance, okay? Has to have peace. And anytime you're operating with a energy that does not have that, okay? Or if you are constantly attracting people of your past, then you have to look at what is it that you are not healing about yourself, okay? That you keep attracting remnants of the past because you're still living a nightmare, okay? So you have to wake up from the nightmare. You got to face Freddy Krueger, and you got to raw right back, okay? But you got to keep your mind, and you have to be patient with yourself. There's a lot of people, and 111 is on the clock, so that means it's about to be an 1111 3, 4, 5 times. So that's 5 wishes, okay? Elevate, 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 elevate for that change to come, okay? And believe in yourself. So we're going to pull some numbers, some more numbers, okay? But the other important message of health is Shigella. Shigella. What is Shigella? Shigella is a virus, okay, that many people do not understand exists around your mouth from putting it in places it shouldn't be, okay? It's very contagious. It's a bacteria that causes shigellosis, diarrhea. It spreads through fecal-oral transmission due to poor hygiene, contaminate food or water, or direct contact with an infected person's asshole. 11:11 on the clock, speaking of. Okay, so you got unclean people that are out here licking people's butt like they groceries. Because see, Virgo deals with the rectum. So we like to get all in the guts, right? We like to talk about shit. Okay, so you got people that's out here and don't care, and they just want to hold on to their soul tie no matter what, because they're afraid of being alone. You got to face that demon, because that's the only way you're going to heal, and you're going to thank yourself later. You're gonna realize how fierce you are. Just imagine somebody going out, licking somebody else's butthole, and it's unclean. You might as well lick a dog's butt, a pig's ass. If somebody eat chitlins, I'm not even going. Hey, do you? But I'm just saying, if you're gonna eat chitlins, then you might as well eat a butthole. But I'm just saying, okay, look. The effects on the body, is the it causes inflammation and damage in the intestines, right? Your stool could be bloody. You experience fevers, stomach pains. Okay, and I'm saying this because this is what comes to mind to speak on spiritually. It can also cause bad oral hygiene. Some people are really running around with halitosis and they're not aware, and they go home to their significant others and they're kissing the babies in the mouth and they're kissing the significant others, and you don't realize where that person's mouth was before they came home or before they came and got into the relationship. Okay, so the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 11, 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4 reminds you that you have good luck. You're on the right track. Somebody from the other side has your back and is encouraging you to try your best. You will succeed. Observe your surroundings and communicate clearly. Be sure that everything will fall into pieces. So here's this card if you want to screenshot it. I don't know why I'm doing it like this, but look at the video, the camera as a reflection of the way the clock faces for you. So you know how to align yourself. 1111 tells you you have a wish coming true. You're in for a lucky break, and it may come as happy news. Experience new opportunities, or an exciting acquaintance is coming. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time. It's not a coincidence, but a gift from fate. So this is the reminder that fate is at play. And then 3333, which is saying that you have hope. Continue to develop your social skills. The problems you have today will eventually disappear. You just have to be able to face your fears, okay? Your guardian angels encourage you to maintain a positive outlook on life, since your luck may be about to change, and it's time to use your captivating energy and inspire others and be inspiring. Don't let your ego get the best of you. So the word of the day, Shigella, Shigella. Okay, a lot of people may not understand what it really looks like. Bacteria is all it's something that is around the mouth. Okay, that's for someone that is likes to be promiscuous. You can look some videos up on YouTube about it. It's not necessarily a gay bacteria, but it is a disease that is widespread due to, I'm trying to think of how to put it, due to unclean people, okay, putting their mouth and pieces in places and things that are already unclean. So be aware of the energies that you continue to attract when you don't want to change, when you don't want to heal. 21, 21, 23, 23, which is another 3 and another 5, which goes to an 8, which speaks about universal law of infinity. So the cycle will continue if you fail to see your habits, okay? Recognize them and start making healthy changes in your life, okay? It can really affect you in a lot of different ways. Some people may have thought they got food poison, but it's more than likely a Shigella virus, okay? Some people need to put up boundaries and make sure that your needs are met first, okay? Someone could be dealing with shame and guilt, okay? So feel that shame, feel that guilt. Be able to take criticism and accept things for what they are. But the mistakes that you've made in the past don't define your worth, okay? So remember that. And look at your addiction. Some people may have an addiction to porn or sex, and that may highlight a lot of some of the things that need to change. 44, 44 on the clock. So this also, together, it tells me that the universe is removing toxicity from out of the life of many of you. For others, you have to do that work, because when you share in those karmic energies sexually, and you are intimate with a lot of people, then you develop spiritual bodies that come in the form of attachments. And next thing you know, your mind is all thrown off, your emotions are thrown off, and then you're picking up on a lot of different energies because people are battling with different spirits and they're unwilling to focus and look at themselves. And then people are going through tower moments because their foundations are false, because they got into situations or karmic relationships when they were wearing a mask, and their karmic partner had a mask on as well. And so you probably thought you had something in common when it was a trauma bond, because both parties or all parties involved chose to put the mask on and ignore the problem, and chose to indulge in whatever those addictive behaviors are. And so the body will talk to you after a while. Do some research on Shigella, because many people are sitting with the virus around their lips right now, in the hairs around their mouth. And I don't know, maybe a black light might help. But I feel like someone has a very promiscuous partner, or either the person came from some areas where they don't care, put it like that. And they keep bringing it to their partner, and someone is stuck, I feel, in a karmic situation. And they could be a little bit tormented, experiencing anxiety, fear, just having a lot of low vibrations. So you need to look at yourself and look at what needs to change, and look at the partner that you're with. And if you're in denial about what it is that they like to do, because somebody likes to get down in them, they like to get down in them 3 parties and 4 parties and 5, group situations and things like that. And so those, if a person will do that with you, they will do that with others. And so they bring attachments of the close kind of the other kinds with them. And your spirit is probably trying to fight off a lot of toxicity that comes from a lot of low vibrational areas. And so it's causing somatic symptoms in the body, because your body is receiving information, and Virgo's holding on to that information, and then it remembers all of a sudden. And then your health, if it was ignored for a certain amount of time, it starts to erupt and turn into a situation where you're having to heal mind, body, spirit, because you're dealing with someone that was actually a soul tie that came in the form of an illusion or distraction, and you thought they were the one. You thought they were probably a twin flame or divinely guided. But the truth is, God will not send you anything that will cause you to suffer. He will not put you in a situation where you feel like you cannot bear another moment. Okay, so you have to look at what it is that you chose. All right, so I'm going to leave this here, and I hope this video was informal. Please take what resonates. Energy is fluid. This can happen at any time. This can resonate at any time. Well, this is informal, so it's just to give you a couple little keys. I hope you got the key to the door that you need to open. And I hope your perspective is higher in enlightenment phase. And I hope you continue to heal, okay? So, again, happy birthday to Aries. And I will be back when I'm guided to give another message. All right? Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Wherever you see this video at, look at my profile information. You know where to look. And you can get links to the other channels and what have you. All right? Peace.